to another video here on Metal Band's Chronicles, where metal lives. You know what? I've been talking about doing this video for several months. And you know what? It's New Year's Eve. You know what? We're going to finally do this video to end out 2020. That's right. We're going to go back to the year 1980. I'm going to tell you my top 25 favorite albums from 1980. You know what? We're not going to waste time doing this because it's 25 albums. I don't want this video to drag and be overly long. You know, so without further ado, let's get on with it. Coming in at number 25, we got the second sophomore studio album by Accept. You know, I'm a Rebel. That's right. You know, I don't think it's a bad album compared to what some people may think. I mean, yeah, they haven't fully developed their sound yet on this album, but you do have standout tracks like I'm a Rebel, for instance, which originally was supposed to be done by AC/DC, but Accept ended up getting the song and doing it. You know, you got other tracks on here like China Lady that are good. Thunder and Lightning's a great heavy track. You know, No Time to Lose is a pretty decent Peter Bates track. Do It's pretty good. It's a weird album because you get a little bit of disco in there too on a couple tracks. It's weird. You can definitely tell they haven't quite found their sound yet. However, there are some gems on here. Coming in at number 24, we got the second studio album by Witchfind, Stage Fright. Pretty good album. I mean, if you like Deep Purple, you will like Witchfind. That's kind of the vibe, or not Deep Purple, Blue Oyster Cult, excuse me, Blue Oyster Cult. If you like Blue Oyster Cult, you will like Witchfind. And this right here is a pretty stellar album. You know, I think the debut's a little better, but overall, I think their third album's actually their best album, but it's still a decent listen, you know. Then we got, coming in at 23, the debut album from Manila Road, Invasion. That's right. Now, I think their later albums are definitely better, but for a debut, it's pretty good. It's very raw. It is very raw. In fact, you can actually hear it cracking in the speakers on a few tracks when it comes to the vocals. Like, to me, the production on here is very demo quality at best. It's not the greatest production, but it's still a decent debut, you know. Coming in at number 22, that's right. Number 2, we got a Belgian band called Killer. Now, there's a few other bands around called Killer, too. There's one from France. Of course, you had Paul Di'Anno's Killers, you know. But yeah, we got this. Ready for Hell. Pretty damn good album, in my opinion. Definitely has a new wave of British heavy metal sound. You know, Ready for Hell, Killer. You know, I Know. Backshooter, you know, some standout tracks on here, you know. Pretty good. So we are up to number 21, and coming in at number 21, I'm going to go with Give 'Em Hell by Witchfind. You have 2 albums in 1980. This is the debut album. I think this album's definitely better. You know, it's weird for having dark imagery like this. The music doesn't sound very dark. You know, like I said, it's got more of a Blue Oyster Cult type of vibes going on here. But you know what? This is a pretty damn good album. I enjoy it. Like I said, still holding on to that 70s metal type of sound, you know. Okay, now we're into number 20. You know, I'm going to go with Samson Head on, their second album. First to feature Bruce Dickinson, who would go on to join a famous band called Iron Maiden, right? That's right. Pretty solid album, I guess. You know, To me, Iron Maiden's definitely better than Samson, but it's still a decent album, you know. And he was called Bruce on here, which is kind of weird. And I believe it's Thunderburst. I believe it's Thunderburst, which is an early version of Ides of March, you know, with a co-writing credit from Steve Harris. Of course, Ides of March will be on Killers, the intro to Killers by Iron Maiden. I think that's pretty interesting. Now, you got some good tracks on here, like Hammerhead, you know, Hard Times, Take It Like a Man, you know, Vice Versa, Man Watcher. It's a decent album, you know. 19 we got, coming in at number 19. I'm going to go with Ted Nugent's Scream Dreams. I believe this is his 7th studio album. I forget now for whatever reason. It's a decent album. I don't think it's its best album, but I think it's a pretty good album. It's pretty rockin', you know, it's Ted Nugent. You get craziness from Ted Nugent. Wango Tango, baby. That's what you get. Because Ted Nugent's not all upstairs, you know. But we love Uncle Ted. At least I do. I know some people don't like him. But, you know, it's collective opinions. I still love his music. Okay, now coming in at number 18, I believe. Want to make sure here. Yes, okay. Don't want to lose track. Number 18, we got Whitesnake with Ready and Willing. They also came out with a tremendous live album in 1980 called Live in the Heart of the City. Now this one's interesting because it's got an early version of Fool for Your Lovin' on here, which I prefer the original version compared to the Slip of the Tongue version. You know, this is when they were still in their blues rock stage. You got members of Deep Purple on here, John Lord, you know, you got Neil Murray on bass, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, just good stuff. I mean, if you like Deep Purple, you'll more than likely like the early Whitesnake. Now we got some new wave of British, some heavy metal coming up here. I'm talking about the debut album by Tigers of Pantang, Wildcat, coming in at number 17. This is a damn good debut. I mean, pretty heavy stuff on here, you know. It's the new wave of British heavy metal, man. What more can I say? But yeah, this comes in at number 17. Good debut. I think their next couple albums might be a tad better, but you know what? It's still a damn good debut. Coming in at number 16. Probably Budgie's heaviest album. But we got Budgie with Power Supply. Man, is this a smoking album. Heavy. Definitely heavy for 1980. I'm telling you. Really good stuff here. So... Alright. Just double checking, guys. So now we're up to number 15. This is another really good album. I really enjoy this album. I'm talking about the second album from Quartz, Stand Up and Fight. Really, really, really good album here, man. I believe Tony Iommi discovered these guys. You know, it's got Jeff Nichols on it. Pretty famous for being a part of Black Sabbath and Ozzy, if I'm right. Yeah. Great album. Number 14. Now this one definitely could have been ranked higher, obviously, I know. But coming in at number 14, you know, this is such a tremendous album. I think, you know, what it might suffer from is being overplayed, I guess. And I've grown up with this album, one of the earliest albums I got exposed to. I don't got to talk further more about it, because I already did a video and a review on this album when it turned 40. Back in Black by AC/DC. Still a damn good album, you know. Still fun to listen to every once in a while. Even though it's probably the album I've listened to the most in my lifetime, you know. I mean, I don't gotta talk about the tracks on here, we already know them. So let's just go on to number 13. We got Crocus, Metal Rendezvous. Another killer Crocus album. I mean, there's some damn good tracks on here, man. I mean, you know. Anyways, I'm not really going to talk about the tracks. But, yeah, man, this is a really good album, you know. This is where Crocus starts molding into more of a heavy metal band, I guess. I mean, they were quite different in the 70s. They had more of a progressive sound in the 70s on their earlier albums. So, yeah, Metal Rendezvous coming in at number 13. So now we got number 12. That's right, coming in at number 12, another very classic album, which I reviewed back in September. I don't gotta talk much more about this one, but we got Blizzard of Oz by Ozzy Osbourne, obviously. First solo album, such a classic album. Don't really gotta talk much about it, do I? So now we are at number 11. Might be a controversial ranking for this album coming in at number 11, but another iconic album, another huge album when it comes to early heavy metal, pertaining in 1980. Judas Priest, British Steel. Yes, not in my top 10, but it's still a great album, man. It's legendary. Need I say more about this album? Everybody knows it. If you're a heavy metal fan, more than likely you own it. British Steel, man, number 11. So now we're into the top 10. Coming in at number 10, I'm going to go with Scorpions with Animal Magnetism. My favorite Matthias Jabs era Scorpions album. Of course, that album cover, well, the Scorpions were known for some pretty out there album covers. Controversial album covers. It's obviously with the woman. Well, it's basically obvious what Animal Magnetism means when it pertains to this album cover, but that's not what we're talking about. Of course, man, this album's classic. Notably known for The Zoo. But you got other tracks on here like Make It Real, the title track, Animal Magnetism, That Smoke. Great album. Okay, coming in at number 9, I'm going to go with Def Leppard's debut album, On Through the Night. You know, don't really gotta talk much about this. I've talked about this album already quite a bit. I think it's a very good debut album. This is when Def Leppard was a new wave of British heavy metal. You know, you got smoking tracks like Wasted on here. Dark tracks like When the Walls Come Tumbling Down in Answer to the Master, and epics like The Overture to close it out. And kick-ass rockers like Rock Brigade. Great debut album. Okay, so coming in at number 8, we got a tie here. Or I'm sorry, not really a tie. You know what? I think my number 8, I'm going to go with... This is pretty tough between these albums. I'm going to go with Strong Arm of the Law by Saxon. Their third album. Really, really good album. You know, what can I say, man? Dallas 1 PM, man, what a great track. Hungry Years is killer, you know, Heavy Metal Thunder. Yes, great album. Coming in at number 7. Ooh. Sorry, I got this on double CD, but we got Wheels of Steel by Saxon coming in at 7. Little bit of a better album to me, you know. I mean, you got some smoking tracks on here. Stand Up and Be Counted. Motorcycle Man, obviously. Wills of Still. Again, another solid heavy metal album by Saxon, you know. Okay, so now we're up to number 6. Okay, coming in at number 6. Diamondhead, Lightning to the Nation. We just talked about this album. You know, of course we talked about the 2020 Lightning to the Nation re-release, re-recording, whatever you want to call it. And we compared it to the original. So we're not going to talk much about this. If you're a fucking heavy metal fan, you already know it. Now we're into the top 5. And coming in at number 5, we got the debut by the Michael Schenker Group, MSG. This freaking album smokes. This is definitely Michael Schenker having more of a new wave of British heavy metal sound. I'm telling you what, man. Excellent album. Excellent album. Pretty much the first thing he put out after leaving UFO. My God, it's such a good album. That's all I'm gonna say. Coming in at number 4. Man, another killer album. Of course, we're talking about Ace of Spades by Motorhead, another iconic album. Probably the fastest album to come out at that time in 1980. I mean, hey man, this thing influenced a lot of thrash metal bands, man. What can I say? It's Lemmy, it's Motorhead, and it kicks ass. I don't gotta talk much about it. So now we are at the top 3. What's going to be number 3? Of course, the debut album by Angel Witch. This thing's just phenomenal. I love this album. I listen to quite frequently still, I can't talk today, man. Quite frequently still. And it's a great album, man. Excellent debut. You know, this definitely influenced bands like Merciful Fate. Even newer bands like Haunt, you know, and Striker and Stallion and bands like that are influenced by Merciful Fate. Influenced by Angel Witch, excuse me. Angel Witch coming in at number 3. Sorry guys, this video's not rehearsed. So, coming in at number 2. And this easily could be my number 1 any day, but I just find one album a bit better. Of course, we got the iconic debut by Iron Maiden. You talk about a killer debut album. What more can be said? It's Iron Maiden. Honestly, I don't know which album I like better, Killers or the debut album. They're so good. And the Diano Iron Maiden is my favorite. So, Phantom of the Opera is probably my all-time favorite Iron Maiden song. You know, just great stuff. Not going to talk much more about it, we all know it. Number 1, obviously, coming in at number 1 is one of the biggest comebacks in a lot of ways. With a new lead singer at the time, former Rainbow singer Ronnie James Dio coming in to take over. I'm talking about Black Sabbath with Heaven and Hell. Great debut with Ronnie James Dio. This is their 9th studio album. You talk about a return to form, but even better in a lot of aspects. Neon Nights, Children of the Sea, man. The title track, Heaven and Hell. Lonely is the Word. Wishing Well. This whole album's perfect. Produced by Martin Birch, who would go on to produce Iron Maiden the following year. And it's produced a bunch of other classics like Deep Purple, Rainbow, you know, and a bunch of other stuff. That's my number 1 now. I know that a lot of people are going to say, where's Rush's Moving Pictures? Wrong album. Where's Rush's Permanent Waves? Didn't throw it in the list because I don't own it, but I love the album. And it would definitely rank pretty high if I were to alternate this list a little bit. I'm trying to think, is there any other albums I'm missing from 1980? Can't think of none right now. I mean, I know there was other stuff that came out in 1980, but yeah, Rush's Moving Pictures, if I had to alternate this list down the road, it would definitely get added in because it's a great album, but unfortunately I don't own it right now. Anyways, that's my top 25 of 1980. Hope you all enjoyed. Up next, obviously, the video everybody's waiting for. My 1 to 10 ranking for 2021. And it will be coming. Keep it metal. And Happy New Year's Eve.